it is here, my Plum Paper Personalized Planner. Lots of alliteration there. I am so excited to do this unboxing and review for you after lots of weeks and months of going back and forth. I finally picked this planner because it was so customizable, so many ways that you could make it your own. So I am really excited to open it up, unbox it, and do a review for you. Okay, so I had to open this up earlier because you've seen in my other videos, I just like hack into things. And it comes in bubble wrap. And the first thing that I notice here is the Plum Paper cover material. It says this little thing right here is a sample, and it says, "Try me, water resistant, tear proof, rigid, and sturdy." And like, I cannot tear this. So that's kind of cool that you get a little sample of it. Another thing I wanted to update you on, I mentioned this in my video last week that I wasn't sure if the covers were interchangeable. So I don't think I can take this cover off, but if I order a new cover, I can cut this one off and it will snap on. So that does make more sense, because I remember last week I was like, why would you have a Christmas cover all year long? So that answered that about the cover. But this is pretty cool that when you open it right away, you can see that this is the material that they're using, and this is like pretty legit. I've like tried to, you know, I'll pour some water on it too, but this is, we're off to a good start. And then you get a little, note, little insert here, and here it is. I took it out of the plastic, and here it is. It is just absolutely beautiful. I love it. It is enormous. I'm not gonna say I didn't realize it would be this big, but I was back and forth between the 7x9 or the 8.5 by 11, which is this. That's what I went for. And I said, you know what, like if it doesn't work for me, I decided that I want something smaller. I'll order something smaller next year, but it is just like, it's big, and it's also really thick too, because I added extra pages at the back. So I will say that I love the coil. I love the binding, just because I think that you can get your best handwriting and everything looks really neat when it lays flat, which is perfect when you have this type of binding. So yeah, I'm just really excited to open it. But first impression is that it's beautiful, and there's a plastic overlay. And then behind that is that cover, the customizable cover, the one that I put my year, I put my monogram on there, and it's that cover that's made really thick, durable. It doesn't rip, so really high quality, great first impression of it. All right, so I open it up, and it's funny with how customized it is that there's still the page on the front that says "this planner belongs to," which like probably would think you could print that in there, which is kind of funny, but it's just beautiful. The paper feels really smooth. This is the smoothest planner paper I have ever touched, which I know that sounds like weirdly specific, but it just is. It's not grainy. It feels really thick and smooth and just super high quality. So right here, there is a 2021 Perpetual Calendar, starts in January, goes through December. And then when you turn the page, you have those special dates. So January through December, and you can put anything on here. You could use this as like tentative events, tentative happenings, things coming up, weddings, you know, all sorts of events really. But there's plenty of space for that. So that's really nice. And then the next page is nice. You could put those months back in there, but it says ideas, plans, and goals. And you can really organize this however you want, which is just what I love about this. So you could do, here are my goals for January, or you could do like, here are my financial goals, here are my home goals, here are my family goals, here are my travel goals, here are my career goals. So you can really lay it out any way you like. So I really like that. And then we just go right into January. So January, what I really like is that the monthly highlights, so you get space for 3 goals, your birthdays, events, and things to remember. That is on the tabbed page, and the tab almost has like, the page is like a little bit thicker. It's not like the regular paper. Now the regular paper is really high quality, but this page is just even a little bit thicker. So you have space for that, and then a nice open sheet for any notes you want for January. So I really like that. And then I have my month ahead of me. So I am really excited. I've been doing this really annoying thing. So I took like a tiny little peek at this planner, and I told my mom, I was like, I really love my planner. And she's like, that's nice. And I was like, is it nice? And then I do a dramatic flip to her month birth, and I'm like, why can't I talk? The month of her birth. And I'm like, but look, your birthday's in there. So I'm probably gonna do that for like everybody that comes in contact with this planner. Hopefully I remembered, but I literally added over 100 personalized events between birthdays and holidays and stuff from my calendar and the Plum calendar. So there's so much in here. So I love that. So like, it's got some of my friends' birthdays in here, some anniversaries, and it's just, it's really cool to see that. It's just nice that I don't have to go through and like, even though I love moving into a new planner with goals and just reflections and things I'm hoping for the year and intentions that I have, I don't have to put everybody's birthdays in there because they're in there already. So I really like that. The monthly page also, if I didn't mention this before, it starts on a Sunday and goes through a Saturday, and there's a column on the right side where you can put any type of notes that you want. At the bottom of that, there is a mini calendar for next month. So on the January spread, there's a mini February. So I love the month overview so far. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, this is the exciting page because this is everything that I customize. So I love this. So, okay. Here it is, here is the spread, and it is just like everything I dreamed of. Okay, so one thing to note is that you will notice that the boxes at the bottom are different colors. And at first I was like, why is that? It's because of the month. So you'll notice that like this is the very beginning of January. So you have gray, 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 gray. Well, that's the end of December, and then purple is when January comes along. So that's the reason why you could look at a weekly spread and you might notice that there are different colors there. So that's the first thing. So the next thing I want to say is that this is exactly what I was looking for in terms of my daily layout. So I wanted to put events, anything where I open the planner and I think to myself, like, you cannot forget somebody's birthday. You can't forget that you have a doctor's appointment today. You can't forget this. Any event that is like non-negotiable, not like a chore of like, you should clean the shower today, but if you don't get to it until Wednesday, it's not a big deal. No, like an event. So I wanted it to be like, I look at that day and I see the event and I'm like, okay, we have to remember that's happening. And then under that, this is another thing that I'm really excited about is the top 3 tasks. So I've mentioned this in a few other videos about how I want to try to do this, focus on 3 things a day. Instead of looking at an overwhelming to-do list of a million things, just pick like, what 3 things am I going to do today? Because that will keep me from getting overwhelmed. And then at the end of the week, you know, I've done 15 things if I've done 3 things a day from Monday to Friday. So I just love that. And now underneath that space, there's just some lines and then a box at the bottom. I'm not really sure what I'm going to put in there. I might put additional things that like I might get to, things to do. I might do a reflection. I might try to do something with washi tape or stickers. I haven't decided. The world is my oyster and I am so excited about that. I didn't customize any text in the top box on the left or the right side just because I thought like maybe one day you're going to want to write a quote. Maybe one day you'll want to write the best thing that happened to you or something memorable or something like that wasn't so great that happened, but you still want to remember it. So I didn't customize those sections and I'm really happy I didn't. And then I'm also really excited because there is a habit tracker on the top right page. And I mentioned before that, you know what, like during like quarantine and life now, I've just fallen into some like not great habits. And so I just want to keep an eye on those and kind of work on them. So I'm really excited that I have that built into my planner, and it's not like I have to find a habit tracker sticker or do it on a grid page, because then you have to like get the lines. And like, I love looking at Instagrams of bullet journals, but like I do not have that patience or the skills to be able to draw lines like that. So this is just like a perfect addition. And I also like, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 lines on your habit tracker. So it's not like, what 95 things are you going to track? You know, it's not too much. No, you just pick the 6 things that you want to focus on. And you know what? They're not pre-printed, which is good, because maybe in January I'm focusing on like, did I go on a walk? Did I take my vitamin? But maybe in July I'm going to be like, did I read before bed? You know what I mean? So it's nice that you can think about habits that I need to focus on now, and then maybe next month they change. So loving the weekly layout. It looks really great. All right, so going through a few more months, I would say January is like a purple, February is like a lighter purple, maybe March is a violet, I don't know. April's like a peach color, May is like a light orange, June is a dark orange, and as you just go through the planner, it just gets, you know, kind of like a lime, then you get like a light teal, a dark teal, and then as you get back to December, it's blue. And so that's what every single month layout looks like. Now, I will say one thing that I forgot to add is that I put an add-on at the end of the month. So I have my month layout, then I have all the weeks of the month, and then at the end of it, I have a reflection page. So the month in 3 words, then there is a wellness scale: happiness, calmness, productivity, fulfillment, energy, and health. I started, I finished, and then the top 3 things I did, places I went, foods I ate, things I read or watched, and the most memorable part of the month. Then if you flip it over, you see this month's goal So main goal, progress I made this month, how I succeeded this month, how I can improve for next month, and steps to reach the improvements. So the only thing is there's a lot of places for goals, and I think that it could be like a lot. So as I mentioned on the main month page, there's 3 spots for goals. Then my reflection has spots for goals, and the front of the planner has spots for goals. So I think now would be a good time for me to just reflect on like, where do I want to put those goals? I don't want to overwhelm myself. I don't want to make too many goals to the point where I get like bogged down and I'm like, I can't do all this, and then I just forget everything. But I really just like the reflection add-on. Just, you know, sometimes just with the way life has been, it's so easy for a month to pass and be like, I didn't do anything. Like, I didn't do anything fun. Nothing cool happened. And, you know, that is obviously like, just to be home and safe and healthy at a time like this is a gift. And it's not something I take for granted. But in the same breath, it can be hard not to get into a negative mindset. I don't know if you've experienced that in the last 10 months, but I know I have. And so I just thought that this is something that would help. A reflection, just overall wellness. So I'm excited to kind of have that. And I also view it as a keepsake, because in December, I'll be able to look back and be like, oh, that's where I was in January. That's where I was in April. And kind of gives you an idea how you've developed over the year. So I'm really excited to use that add-on. And I'm also excited I didn't make a million different pages of add-ons. I just picked that one for the month. And the finale, the notes pages. So there are like 20 pages. No, I'm sorry, I always get that mixed up. 20 sheets, so like 40 pages of lines. And I love line paper. You never know when you're gonna need to write something really important. You're in a meeting, you've gotta take some notes, or just like something is happening and you're like, I need that in my planner. One time someone was like, yeah, just rip a page out of your planner. I'll use that paper. And I was like, are you kidding me? I'm not ripping something out of my planner, okay? So like, I don't know if you're a planner ripper. Are you a planner ripper? I just like, that is like a big no in my life. But in an emergency, in an absolute emergency, that's how you could really tell if I loved you or not, if I would rip a page out of my planner. But in an emergency, I actually probably could, because there are 20 sheets here, which is pretty great. So there are the 20 sheets of lines. Then I have there are 2 sheets, so 4 pages of the grid dot. And then I have my contacts. I don't know if I'll use that. I have like an online thing that I use to store my contacts, addresses, and everything like that. So that's probably a little bit easier than writing it down. But you know, it's nice to have that in here. Passwords, probably not gonna write my passwords down, but you know, maybe I could use this for something else. That's what's cool about planners, is that you can always like put a sticker over the word passwords and voila, now you have a 3-column page with like, you know, whatever your heart's desire is, right? And then when I flip the page, I have a 2022 Perpetual Calendar. So just nice to have like an at a glance. I also have a little folder in the back, and I like it because it's double-sided. So there's a folder on the one side, and when you flip it over, it's there. And I added this in without realizing. I think early on when I ordered, I didn't realize there was gonna be a folder, and I added, it's like a pocket. It's like a plastic pocket, and it's awesome. I mean, that would be another great place. I might put something in this pocket if it were like, maybe I needed it to be a little bit more secure because it comes up a little bit higher, but just, it's great. One more spot to put any type of like important document, bills, like let's say I'm out and I'm like, oh, you know what? Like my tax information came in the mail today and I need to send that to my accountant. Let me just put all that in here so I don't lose it. It doesn't get lost or buried in my desk, which is like a mess right now, but that is not important to discuss. But just a nice place to put things that come in that are important. So that is it. That is my planner. The back cover is the same as the front. It's got that same material. It's got the same print and the plastic. So yes, there we have it. I am so excited about this. I am really excited to use this planner. I so far can't recommend it highly enough. I just love how I could customize every little thing, the cover, the layout, adding my family and friends' birthdays, anniversaries, everything. So I'm just excited to jump right in because it's been a little while since I've had a planner to write in, and it kind of makes me feel a little bit uneasy. If you're a planner person, you probably know what that feels like. So anyway, if you're looking for a planner, it is not too late. I had mentioned in my video that this is super customizable, and let's say it's March and you're like, oh, is it too late to get a planner? No, you can customize the dates so that your planner is March of 2021 until March of 2022. So I really like that, and you can always add more months. I mentioned in my last video, which check it out if you wanna watch how I made this and how I designed it and customized it. I mentioned that you can go up to 18 months in your planner now. It probably would be pretty thick because this is 12 months with some notes pages, and look at this thing. So Anyway, if you decide to get this planner, you'll have to let me know, or if you got a Plum Paper Planner, let me know how it's going. I'm really excited to test it out, and I'll be back hopefully in a few weeks, let you know how it's going, maybe show you some of my weekly layouts and what I've been writing in there and how I've been designing it. I did just order a couple washi tape and sticker things from some different places online, so I'm really excited about that. So I hope you have enjoyed this, and if you have, like, subscribe, maybe leave a comment below, let me know how your planner life is, and I will see you next time.